Hello and welcome to our live show where we're going to be discussing all the latest West Ham news and gossip. The latest news, of course, is that Andre Ayew, a record signing, played 33 minutes for West Ham against Chelsea on Monday night and has picked up a 3 to 4 month injury, which he will miss. And then straight after, we've got the African Nations Cup, so it could be about 6 months until we see a record signing this season. Of course, we've got the whole standing and sitting issue. We've got Antonio at right back. We've got Sakho. Well, what do we do with him? Enner Valencia, will anyone give us 50p for him? Now we've got the strangest link of all, Robson-Kanu. Well, is that someone we want here? And also the transfer window as a whole. That's what we're going to be discussing. And I've got with me tonight, I've got Mitch and Tom. Tom, let's start with yourself. Andre Ayew's 4-month injury, you just could not make this up.
You couldn't, mate. And you talk about the West Ham way, and this is the West Ham way right here. I mean, the only sort of good news is we've still got 2 weeks, I suppose, so we can actually do something about it. You know, it could have been worse. It could have been first game after the transfer window shut. You know, and we left for Carroll. But I mean, for me personally, they've just got to write him off this season. Really, as you said, it's going to be for 5 to 6 months with the African Cup of Nations potentially. So you've got to write him off this season, Gio.
That's if they take him. Ghana might not take him to African Nation because if he misses 4 months and then he's fit just before it, it would be a strange thing to do if they take him playing a couple of games in between. It would be very risky and probably risk another injury. But Tom, with the news of Ayew, is there now an alarm bell ringing in your head thinking, hang on, this could be a disaster all of a sudden?
Yeah, it could be, mate. Yeah. The only good saving thing about, I mean, there's a lot of talk about just quickly and. They're saying that obviously it gives the opportunity for Antonio. It could be actually a lifeline to push up on the right wing or whatever on the wing, and then obviously you actually get a proper right back. But I don't know if Bilic is going to do that because he seems pretty stubborn on the actual idea of Antonio right back. But that could be a good little thing actually, Gio.
Mitch, are you looking at silver lining at the same way as Tom, or are you thinking this is devastating news with Ayew being out?
No, I'm looking at it in the same sort of viewpoint that Tom is. I think that my immediate thought was this could be a blessing in disguise for Antonio, and therefore could it be a blessing in disguise for us, because we all know what Antonio can do when he's fully motivated. So it's a huge blow. It's our record signing. He hasn't had a chance to prove what he can do for us. When he does come back in 4 months, it will feel like he's sort of re-signed for a second time, if that makes sense. It'll be like a new signing. But yeah, for me, we've got Toure on the bench. Antonio, this now gives him the opportunity to move up as well. So although it is a big loss, but I think we've got plenty of people to cover it. I don't think this is a good excuse for a meltdown quite yet.
I'm devastated actually. I was really looking forward to Ayew signing. I was delighted when he did. Delighted to see him start against Chelsea. Gutted to see him go off, and this news is just like a kick in the nuts a little bit, isn't it? It's almost like bad news at West Ham doesn't just come in one, it comes in 2s, 3s and 4s in some senses, and we'll get on to a couple of bits more in a minute. But Mitch, do you think with this news coming out, I know you've said we've got enough cover, but is there a lot of part of you thinking the owners have to open the checkbook?
Well, before this injury even happened, and even knowing Caleri was going to sign, I still feel as though we still needed another striker. Because we've got Carroll, who's injury prone, and then obviously Ayew's just got injured now. So now more than ever, I feel as though we need, if anything, a proven striker, not just someone from abroad. I would like to see maybe someone like Jermaine Defoe, who's got plenty of experience, not too many injury issues, and can rack up goals as well. So yeah, we 100,000,000% need a new striker.
Tom, tomorrow night we play in the Europa League. Our injury list is pretty big. We've now been told that Payet's got a knock against Chelsea. That's why he's not travelled to Romania as well. We've got the Ayew injury to add to the list. Are you still fully behind Europa League, or are you thinking, do we really have the squad depth?
It's a good question, Gio, and I haven't really thought about it too much, but the more you think about it, I mean, yeah, I really wanted to do well in the Europa League and actually take it serious, but you know, we haven't got the squad depth, or we can't get the players in by the end of within 2 weeks. Then it's something we need to seriously look at, and you know, and it's hard. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Really, because obviously you're going to play a lot more games. The squad's going to be a lot more tired. Going Thursday into Sunday games, are going to be playing. You know, it's going to be difficult if we get through to the group stages. You're right.
You can't win really. Either you go for Europe and risk the health of your squad, or you, not necessarily on purpose, but you bow out of Europe to maintain your squad and push for the league. But what are you pushing for in the league? To get back into Europe next season? It's a bit swings and roundabouts. Mitch, what's your opinion? Do you still take it seriously, or are you thinking I'm not that fussed if we go out?
I sort of do and I sort of don't. I almost see it as like a big bonus, if that makes any sense. For me, to be completely honest, I would rather we sort of, if Bilic felt as though we were going to almost be in the lower half of the table, and this is what I think happened last Europa League campaign actually. I honestly think last season he just threw it away, he didn't feel like we had the squad. I think that if it's going to seriously affect us in the league and other cups, because let's be honest, we're take off the claret and blue specs for a minute, we're not going to win the Europa League. Let's be 100% honest here, we're not going to win it. There's teams like, there's going to be teams that have just been knocked out of the Champions League, like Borussia Mönchengladbach and all those sort of big giants from elsewhere. We're not going to win Europa League, in my humble opinion. So I would rather we focused on the FA Cup and the League Cup and the league itself. And if we had to throw away the Europa League to do that, I would be completely behind Bilic's decision.
But Mitch, surely we knew we were in this situation at the full-time whistle of the FA Cup final. As soon as that whistle went at Wembley, West Ham knew they had 2 qualifying rounds to get to the group stage, and if they got to the group stage, that's another 6 games. So they knew they were going to have 10 European games, just the group stages and qualifiers. So they're not prepared a bit better for this in the transfer window. That's 3 months ago now that final was 3 months ago, and now we're sitting here thinking, well, is the squad big enough?
To be fair, in the defence of the owners and the club, I generally think what we've got at the moment should be enough to see us through these earlier group stages. Like the likes of Samuelson and Fletcher should be able to see the likes of Astorov. Although I say that, look at what happened last season. But to be fair, like I would be very shocked if we put out a half a decent squad and lost to Astor. I do think we're prepared for these current rounds. But as for getting out the group stages and then progressing further, I don't think we're that prepared.
Tom, do you agree with that? Do you agree with Mitch's saying there? I know Mitch is saying we're not going to win it, which only one team can, but Mitch is saying we're going to struggle to get out the groups there. Are you agreeing with that, Tom, or do you think that we've got more than enough quality to get out of them?
I am. I do agree with Mitch a bit, yeah. To be honest with you, we did have to, looking at it, we did have a squad really to go for Europe. Like, I have a good stint in Europe. But as you said, we didn't know about the injuries. Payet's picked up a little knock, as you said. Might only be a week or 2 probably, by the sounds of it, only little. I was dealing at Ayew, and then you haven't even talked about the people that are not playing, like Sakho refused to play, So it all adds up, and the main thing, he is right, the main thing for us this season is really cementing our place in the Premier League, getting 7th again, and then. But it's a difficult one, and it's not that as a fan we got an opinion, but it's down to the club, obviously, or Bilic, and obviously they have a conversation and say, look, what do we do here, and I'm behind them if they decide to pull out. But I like going to European away days more than anything. That's just being selfish, But yeah, that's what I think.
To be fair, I get what you're saying about the injuries, and to be fair, I think. Off the top of my head, Ayew and Creswell are the only long-term injuries that we've got. I think come back after the international break, Torrey should be skinnier, if not fitter. He should at least lose some of the weight he's got. Creswell will be back in training at least. Lanzi, and he should be fit. Payet will be fit. Feghouli will be fit as well. So we should have a strong squad after the international break. It's just getting into the group stages. And I think we've all sat there saying, yeah, we need European football to get the youngsters game time. Well, let the youngsters play, and if they're good enough for group stages, they're good enough to beat Ashta, and then they will determine if they're going to be getting game time in the group stages or not. That's how I see it. But saying that, it'd be very disappointing for us to throw European football away, because we've seen last season just how quickly we fell from potentially finishing 4th to scraping into European football. This coming season, we might not make European football. We don't know how long it'll be until we get it back at West Ham United. And I think it would just be a bit silly to miss it entirely. But Tom, you briefly mentioned Diafra Sakho. What's your stance on Sakho then? Because a couple of weeks ago we were saying he needs to go, get rid of him. We've tried to get rid of him. He failed the medical at West Brom. Since then, he's back in training. He's apparently, according to David Gold, he's working really hard to get fit. What's your opinion on Sakho, Tom?
It depends, Joe. He's obviously working hard to get fit. He's either working hard to get fit to come back in the squad and try and play for his place, or to get the actually to pass an actual medical if he goes to another club. So, for me personally, I mean, being a professional, he's obviously hasn't just got the fans to sort of try and sort of thing. He's got to go back to his teammates, apologise. He's got to try and, if he has fell out of Bilic, obviously try and win Bilic back, and the board and the whole club, the whole, he's not only let himself down, he's let his teammates, as I said. So us fans are fickle, if he comes back and he starts banging against Tottenham and all these other teams, I'd quite happily say, fair enough, he's playing, he's professional, we can forget about that, but it depends if the team, no ball especially, take him back in.
But if a bid came in right now, Tom, for say, let's just say a low fee, 10 million, which is quite low for Sakho, would you accept it?
Of course, we accepted more than that before, but he failed them. For me, if anything, get rid of him on loan. Just get him off the wage bill. So what's he on, 40 a week? Just get him off the wage bill. Just get him off the wage bill, and then worry about it next year. But for now, short-term solutions. Just get him out on loan. Someone to take him on loan. Because obviously, so just get him on loan. That's what I think.
But would you give him, if you had to, would you give him a third chance? He's already had a second chance. Would you give him a third chance at West Ham, Tom?
If I was there, no. Me personally, if I was a player, no. As a fan, if you come back and, as I said, start scoring, then yeah. But it's not. As I said, it's up to Noble, especially. He's the captain. It's up to Noble, obviously, first, and then Bilic. And he's paid a lot of people off, hasn't he, behind the scenes, like from what I'm hearing. As I said, it's all rumours. So it's not. But if I was there as a player, no, not in the slightest.
Mitch, you've been sitting listening to Tom's opinions on Diafra Sakho. What's yours?
I would show him the back door as soon as possible, not only because his attitude, but to be completely honest, I don't even think he's as good as some of our fans make out. In his first season with us, he scored, I think it was 7 goals in 7 games, and then it took him something like 6 months to get the other 5 goals or 6 goals, whatever it was. With that attitude as well, for me, I just can't justify keeping him. I don't think he's as good as some of our fans make out either, as I've just said. We could do a lot better with the money that we'd get from him. I think it was West Brom were going to pay 10 to 15 million pounds for him. I just say get him out the back door as quick as possible.
If Slav comes out tomorrow, Mitch, if Slav comes out and says he's spoken to Sakho, all is forgiven, all is well, would you change your opinion on him, or are you firmly saying get him out?
I would still say get him out. Not only has he insulted the club, but he's also insulted the fans. There were sort of several things going around on social media where he had Snapchatted fans mocking them and that sort of thing. For me, that sort of stuff is unforgivable, especially when the club's paying you 40, 50 grand a week.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want them gone. But I think I'm speaking on behalf of these two as well. If Sakho turns up in a West Ham strip against Bournemouth, he will get the support of all of us. Every West Ham fan will get behind him, because anyone that pulls on the Claret Blue will always get the support, regardless of what you've done. You will always get the fans backing for that time you're representing the club. But the matter of fact is, on Monday night, because he had his strop, on Monday night we couldn't play him because he was unfair or whatever. We couldn't play him when we probably could have done with him. When no striker on the bench, we've got. While he's not as good as Mitch says, he's not as good as people think. I get that to an extent, but I do think he's still Premier League quality. I certainly think he's West Ham, not first choice striker at West Ham quality. I certainly think he's got something to offer in terms of ability. We could have done with him on the bench on Monday night. Bilic might have been able to change the game a little bit if he had an option of Sakho sitting there. He might have been able to start him instead of Enner Valencia, but we couldn't because of his attitude. And would it have changed the game at Stamford Bridge? I don't know, but the matter of fact is, Bilic would have had an extra striker option when selecting his team, and he wouldn't have had no striker on the bench. Tom, I briefly mentioned his name there, Enner Valencia. I feel sorry for it. I feel really sorry for him. But what's your thoughts on Enner?
First off, right, the guy is a total professional. Yeah, let's get that straight. He's professional, 110%. He went out to the team in Austria. Rumours of him obviously going maybe to, was it Inter, I think, or as Lazio, or an Italian team, But he's so professional, because he's got a contract. This is the difference to Sakho. He's gone out there. But let's get down to his footballing. I mean, and last season as well as this season, His first touch is absolutely atrocious. Honestly, it is really, really bad. And I think you can only replace striker with another striker with him, like Carroll. If he was to play 4-4-2, which we don't do now, we've obviously played 4-5-1 in some sort of format. We only play the lone striker. So he's not good enough as a lone striker. He's not a winger. You know, I mean, for Ecuador, he bangs them in left, right, and centre when they play a 4-4-2. But he's not that for us. You know, he doesn't seem to sort of emulate the form that he has in Ecuador for us. You know, and unfortunately, as I said, his first touch is awful. He can sort of hit a dead ball, but even then, apart from the one at Bournemouth when he scored that free kick, that's I think one of the best free kicks last season personally. I mean, apart from that, I mean, I don't know what else he really offers the team really. He's a total professional, you know, and 100% professional, but he's just not very good, you know. And when I heard that he was playing against Chelsea the other day, straight away, my first thought in my head was, we're starting with 10 men, and it proved to be right.
Do you think it affects the players, Tom? Do you think it affects the players in the team knowing that Valencia started? I mean, there's probably nothing wrong with him and personally. They probably get on really well with him and they probably want him to do well. Quite often when you see Valencia do something, you see a lot of players crowd him and say, well done, Enner, as if they're trying to really G him up. But do you think as a footballer, if you see him starting left wing, do you think as a footballer, part of you goes, oh, not him again, we've got to put up with him in left wing? Because it was very evident. Remember last season, or the season before, it was very evident players stopped passing to Kevin Nolan. They just wouldn't pass to Kevin Nolan because they obviously thought he's not very good. Do you think it does that with Enner Valencia?
I don't know, mate, to be honest. I mean, you'd like to think, obviously, you got him in the claret and blue shirt, you'd like to use him in some capacity, but if I knew he was in the team personally, I wouldn't pass him because, as I said, his first touch is just absolutely woeful. It really is. It's awful. Absolutely. I'd like to see some stats actually on his first touch. How percentage-wise, how much has he controlled? I mean, of all the passes that have actually gone to him, because I think you find it's actually quite shocking. It really is awful.
Mitch, is your opinion of Valencia any rosier than Tom's?
I don't know where to start with him. Because I'm not going to be honest, he just frustrates me so much. First of all, I'd like to say what Tom just said. I do 100 billion zillion % respect his attitude, and I respect him because he has been very professional. But the bloke's atrocious. He's absolutely shocking. To comment on what Tom said about being a striker, he's not even a striker. We've played him there before, and you know, and then even this pre-season, how many times have we seen him go one-on-one with this keeper, and then try and be fancy or something, just completely mess it up or put it wide or put it over the bar? The bloke's shocking. People say things like, oh, but we need to get crosses in because he's quite good in the air for a little guy. He's appalling in the air. I've never seen him win one good header apart from the one against, like, I think it was Burnley or something, right at the start of, not last season, the season before. The guy is just shocking. His first touch is like he's wearing lead boots. I respect his attitude, but for me, I can't wait to sell him, basically.
Last question on the two strikers we're currently got. Mitch, you have to sell one and you keep one. Sakho and Valencia.
I think I would sell Sakho purely because of his attitude, and I'd keep Valencia again purely because of his attitude.
Tom, same question. You sell one and you keep one.
You have to sell Sakho. Just as Mitch said, just for the attitude and professionalism of Valencia. So you have to sell Sakho and keep Valencia, but hopefully we get rid of both of them.
Very, very briefly, I'm going to mention this striker because it's only whispers. This isn't us saying this is definitely happening or anything. It's just whispers. Tom, would you take Robson-Kanu to West Ham with everything that's going on? He's a free agent right now. There's a few people saying that we might be looking at him. Would you take him?
Is that a joke question?
No, it's a genuine question.
No. I won't even entertain it. And the fact, you know, the worrying thing is, Gio, the fact that you mentioned these three, like he'd be a freebie, a Bosman, that's the worrying thing, that they probably would go out for him because the fact that he's a freebie. And that's the worrying thing. No, sorry.
Well, Mitch just gave his opinion there without speaking. All I'll say about Valencia before we move on completely is the only time he plays well, or he looks like he's played well, is when the rest of the team have played really poorly. Valencia will get a 6 out of 10, and he'll be one of our better performers because the rest of the players have got a 5 out of 10. That's the only time you can really say Valencia does well. It's a shame. I really want him to succeed. I've never wanted a player to succeed at West Ham as much as him, purely because of just the fact he keeps going, the fact he travels the other side of the world to play in an international game, travels all the way back, and he's available again at the next game. He's got fantastic commitment to West Ham. But our problem is we can't shift him. No one's going to pay 10 million for him. Why would they? All they have to do is listen to fans like us. They have to look up the stats like Tom says and think, no, you're all right. 10 million. That's why clubs are trying to get him on loan. But we've got no interest in loaning him out because we know that when he goes on loan, he's not going to do very well. They're not going to come back and pay the money for him. So we need to get rid of him. That's the problem. But let's speak about our right back now. Myself and Mitch had a rant after the Chelsea game. It's on our channel, youtube.com/Hammers Chat. We spoke about Antonio in depth on there. We're not going to go too much into that. But on the West Ham Way radio show, which happened between 7 and 8 o'clock tonight, ex-West Ham employee said there has been a bit of a kerfuffle at the training ground about Antonio playing at right back. And one or two players have said to Bilic, this is now affecting team performance and team morale. And they're putting the pressure on Slav. Tom, what's your opinion on this overall and with the kerfuffle? Do you think it is wrong for the players to tell Bilic, or do you think it's got to the point where they need to say to their manager, look, this ain't working?
Well, when you say, I don't know what the kerfuffle was, but when you say obviously someone's had a word with Bilic, I'd hope it'd be the senior players. So obviously Noble, as captain, you'd hope he'd go to, because obviously where he's captain of the team, you'd hope that he would go to the manager and say, by the way, I've got a little. I assume that's what's gone on, and I don't. But being captain, that's part of the job, So, but yeah, I mean, if the fact that the players noticed it and we've noticed it, I mean, I don't want to. I love Bilic, love him to bits. He's been fantastic. It's been a revelation, But every manager has a weakness, And I mean, we all bit into it last season. We all took the fact that obviously Jenkins got injured, and obviously we had to play Antonio at right back as a makeshift right back for half the season, or half the season. So we all accepted that, and even Antonio accepted it, and he done so well as a right back, barring letting the goals in, obviously, because one of the reasons why I think we didn't get Champions League, because Antonio was so far forward. But he scored a lot of goals and got a lot of assists and proved that he could be a winger. And I just feel so sorry for him, really, because Bilic has now got it into his mind that he is our solution to the right back, and quite clearly he's not. As you've mentioned before, 8 years, 10 years of his professional life. He's 26, 27, I believe. Yeah, so near enough a decade now. He's been playing, going forward, and I'm sorry, you can't teach someone now. I mean, the traits of being a right back. You can't do it. I feel sorry for him, and it must knock his confidence. And I wouldn't be surprised, Gio, if the guy if it doesn't get sorted out, if he whacks in a transfer request.
Are you half expecting that to happen?
And to be honest with you, I mean, you might curse me for saying this, it might be a blessing, because if Bilic is so blind to see that he's not a right back, and everyone can see it, not just us. I mean, I'm pretty sure the board might even be able to see it, to be honest. But I think it's just Bilic's stubbornness, and he's quite stubborn about this. And I wouldn't be surprised if we whacked it in, and it could be a blessing if Antonio did actually say got sold, and we had to buy a proper right back. It could be. I don't want it. I love Antonio. I want Antonio to be. I want him to be the winger. I want him to go forward. But I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him in the slightest if he put the transfer request. I really wouldn't.
Mitch, to change it slightly. When we did the review, we mentioned. I thought of this after, but we mentioned in the review that Antonio had gone to 4-4-2 and said that he's a winger. He wants to be a winger, etc. Does that not put Bilic in a difficult position, right? Because let's say Bilic is debating moving him, and then Antonio comes out and says that. As a manager, he's not done it directly, but he's just in a way questioning your authority there a little bit, as if to say, if you move me, it looks like I call the shots. Bilic's view, if he moves him, it looks like Antonio said, I'm not playing there, and then Bilic has adhered to that. Or do you think Bilic is going, no, you don't tell me what you do, I am the manager, I pick you, if I say you're right back. Do you think that could have come into play at all? Do you think Antonio doing that, coming out publicly, is actually maybe giving Bilic food for thought?
No, I don't think so, because of the 4-4-2 issue came out sort of a few weeks back, so it's not like considering moving him forward has come out immediately after that issue was published. There's no, in my opinion, there's no better manager in the league at handling players and personalities than there is Bilic. So I don't know what it is he would do, but I don't think he would ever almost let a player feel as though they have power over him, no matter what the circumstances are. So no, I don't think the manager will feel undermined. I think Bilic is one of those people who just takes everything with a pinch of salt, doesn't take things too personally. we don't see what happens behind the scenes. So maybe they've had a discussion, maybe even before Antonio gave the interview. Maybe Bilic advised Antonio on what to say. We don't know what happens behind the scenes. But I don't think Bilic is someone who would let anyone diss him.
I just think, as a manager, for those watching this, I used to be a store manager, and if one of my staff said to me, I don't want to do this, I want to go do that, part of me would think I couldn't let them go do that because they put me on the spot there. I think, no, because I'm the boss, I need to kind of retain that status among the other staff and say, no, you will do as you're told, not do what you wish to do. That's just how I see it. I'm just seeing it from my own personal life, I suppose. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but that's just how I viewed that anyway. But Mitch, we were obviously a bit irritated, annoyed, angry on Monday night when we did our review show. Have you calmed down at all? What do you make of this Antonio situation as a whole?
I tried to sort of calm down a bit, but I'm calm about everything else apart from the Antonio thing, if that makes sense, and the Enner Valencia thing as well. For me, it would just be the most, I don't know how to describe it, the most overwhelming act of stubbornness if Bilic puts Antonio at right back on Sunday. But to be fair, I think when we saw it when he subbed Byron, I think finally Bilic has got the memo. Antonio isn't the right back. I personally have got this feeling now that Antonio will be pushed further forward now that Ayew's injured. But I think if Antonio is told otherwise, I can see a transfer request being handed in before deadline day.
The worrying thing for me is tomorrow night when we play Ashton, we've got a shortage of fullbacks. We're probably going to need Antonio to play right back and put Byron left back, and that's a potential issue. Just with the way the fans are going to react if they see it. But then saying that, we're quite short in the attacking midfield department as well. Now that Payet hasn't gone, we don't really have any. We've got Torre. That's about it, really. That's our only really attacking midfielder, until we go into the youngsters like Samuelson. Tom, last question: transfer window as a whole. Do the owners need to go back into this transfer window and sign other players? If so, what players?
Well, yeah, they do need to look into it, Gio. Yeah, they do need to buy players. As Mitch said, I'd say we still need a striker and a right back. Now that Ayew's obviously gone down, I think we've got enough cover in the midfield, to be honest, attacking positions when Feghouli and Tor gets fit, when Feghouli comes back and Lanzini. But I think we've got enough in midfield, so I'd say we need two strikers now. I know we've got Cleary and Carroll, but as you said, Carroll's going to be a pick up an injury this season. I don't want to say it. He might have an. I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. And Carroll has a blinding season, and he scores 25 goals. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but the previous seasons, it's just history of him, isn't it? He's going to pick up a niggle, maybe about 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. So he's going to miss 8 to 10 games minimum, I'd say, if not half the season for injury. So I'd say we need two strikers. Maybe one, and if he's going to, we're seeing a lot of Fletcher in the thing, and Fletcher looked good. Maybe Fletcher deserves a go. Who knows? But we definitely need one striker, if not two. If only gets one in, we have to give Fletcher a go. And obviously we need a right back. We need a right back. There's no two ways about it. We need a right back and one or two strikers for me.
Are you not happy with Byram right back there? Because I'm more than happy with him right back, and I think we've got enough players in the squad that can cover there, like James Tompkins did. I do think we've got Nordvik can cover there. I think Reece Burke could probably cover there. I know we're only one serious injury away from Byram from being troubled at right back, but we're probably one serious injury away from being troubled everywhere else on the pitch.
I'm only saying this, Gio, because obviously, as you said, I'm only going because Bilic is refusing to move Antonio out of it. If he decides to play Byram right back, I'm quite happy with that because Byram for me looks like he can do that. So I'm happy for that. So we don't need a right back if he's going to play Byram there. But we do need some sort of cover because I know Byron might pick up a nice injury. So maybe we can get a fullback in, obviously, because I know Creswell's going to come back. Unless that Sakho, whatever his name is, can cover right back as well, then that might be fine. Yeah, if Byron's going to play right back, we don't need a right back. We're all right. But if he's not, if he's going to persist with the Antonio situation, then no, we need a right back because obviously he doesn't prefer Byron either. So we do need a right back.
Mitch, your opinions, final words.
Well, if we're interested in Robson-Kanu, we might as well just go, full hog and sign James Perch or someone for fullback. No, look, I've even I think that even with Byram, we should perhaps maybe go for someone who's quite similar to Byram, quite young, going to be a bit cheaper, and has something to prove. We all said things like, oh, you know, with Cresswell, we said, oh, what's the chance of our left back getting injured? And then look what happened. I think something very similar could happen to Byram. In terms of signing a striker, I'm not going to be one of these people who say, oh, you're billionaires, just sign him. I know there's financial fair play, that sort of thing will involve, so I'm not just going to rip into the owners. But at the same time, they've said on Sky Sports that we're going to be big spenders and that sort of thing. And I think now is the time to show all the other clubs that we were bigging it up to that we do have a bit more money in the bank and that we are serious about getting the right players.
Well, there you go. There's our opinions from Mitch and Tom, and a little input from myself as well. We want to hear your opinions. You can come onto our forum at hammerschat.com. The links are in the description below, or you can comment below in the YouTube videos. Make sure you subscribe. We've got loads of videos coming this week. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday night, straight after full time with a review of the Astra game, regardless of how we get on. Hopefully we'll win. Friday at dinner time, we will have our Bournemouth match preview out. We'll also have a Bournemouth review out at the weekend. We've got loads of stuff coming for you. And we've got a brand new show on Friday night live at 8:30, so do tune in for that one. It's a bit different. It's not West Ham, so do tune in. But that's been Tom. That's been Mitch. They both don't like Valencia. They don't like Sakho. And they both want to sign a striker. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching.